without further ado, please welcome President Hockey Operations, Keith Jones. Have a seat right here, Jonesy. What was the farm life like?
It was great. It was quiet. Horses, goats, miniature donkeys, ducks, you name it, we tried it.
And you took care of them.
We did. Yeah.
How about you?
I did.
You did?
I did. I cleaned stalls frequently in between radio shows and broadcasting hockey games. Walked out the horses, fed them, kept up with all that, and tried to do a good job in the media world.
See, you didn't even know that. You didn't know that he. Anybody in here know he owned a farm? Anybody? Oh, a few diehards right there. They knew. All right.
Must have listened to the radio back in the day.
So back in the day.
Oh, you are? Okay, good.
I used to cut the Hubs' grass.
Oh, yeah? That's awesome.
So that was your neighbor?
Should have stopped by my place. You could have helped out.
I'm good. I'm a good food.
So, Jonesy, let's go back,
Yep.
way back to when you were a player. We got a trade? Anything going on? You want to fill us in?
That's my daughter.
All right. So let's go way back to when you were playing younger.
Yeah.
Like, take us through your early years of the sport.
So how far back? Like,
Well, I
I
mean,
started playing hockey when I was 3 years old. I mean, I'm so young that I don't even remember when I learned how to skate. It'd be like you guys learned how to walk. That's how young we were. We played outdoors. I was passionate about it all the way through, especially as a young person. And then around my teenage years, I bloomed late. Contemplated quitting many times because I was smaller and guys had grown way past me that I used to be better than. But I stayed with it somehow and then kind of weaved my way into having a career in the National Hockey League. But there was a lot of bumps along the way and a lot of challenges, and somehow I found my way through all of that and ended up living my dream. But there was many times it wasn't my dream. There was many times that I kind of thought that part had kind of gone to the wayside, and I just kept playing. And then some of the better players, they weren't playing anymore, the ones I grew up with. So it's an interesting story on just trying to finding your way and having some good fortune, but also taking advantage of the opportunities when that slight opening came about.
So when you went to college,
Yep.
you were telling me this story earlier.
Yep.
What was your initial major?
So I started in phys ed. I thought we were just going to run around the gym. I didn't realize it was all health and wellness, and I was so confused by the end of my first semester that I changed, and I switched to communications until I had to get up and talk in front of the class, and I hated it. We went to a local television station in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I went to Western Michigan University, and we're all lined up, and everybody's going to have the opportunity to sit at the desk and deliver the news. It might have been the weather. I mean, it wasn't hard. As soon as it got to my turn to go up, I turned around and walked out because I didn't want to stand in front of everybody and talk. So I ended up changing my major to sociology after that because you didn't have to stand in front of the class. You just had to write a lot and tire your professor out to the point where he gave you a C. So I ended up in sociology because of that. And lo and behold, my hockey career ended, and all of a sudden I was stumbling into a broadcasting career.
So what was that moment like? So, boy, you've had so many transitions in your life.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was. So when I played, I was a good interview. I was honest. I was, in the heat of the battle. I gave good answers for the most part. Entertaining just because of the passion that I felt when I played. So when I retired, it was anticipated by those folks with the national television, it was ESPN at that time, that I would be really good on TV. I wasn't. I started off really poorly. I was sweating through my suits. I was uncomfortable. I knew I was no good because I was one of those people that watched others on TV and ripped them all the time. This guy's terrible. This guy's terrible. This guy, with friends, you know. And I knew I was that guy because I knew I wasn't very good at it. So there were some long days of reflection, thinking maybe I'm in the wrong thing. Can I make a comeback? Can I fix my knee one more time? Can I try to get back on the ice? Because that's where my happy place was. Thankfully, after 15 shows at ESPN, they did not ask me to come back, which they shouldn't have. And I started working at Comcast Sportsnet doing local television in a much less pressurized situation. I always remember at ESPN, the guy would come up from behind the producer, one of the directors or whatever, and they would say, "Hey, just be yourself. Have fun." Have fun was the one I loved, right? Which means you look like a stiff, you're making no sense, and you look extremely uncomfortable. So if somebody tells you when you're on camera to have fun, it means they're worried about how you look in your appearance and how you're delivering your message. So I knew all that. I was smart enough to understand what they were saying. And I always tell people whenever someone new would come beside me and all of a sudden the guy would come out from the back and tell the guy, "Hey, have fun," I'd say, "Do not listen to that advice." And I would tell the person that came out to tell him, "Don't tell him that. You know, give them some helpful hints, but don't tell them to have fun because it becomes a disaster from that point on." But there was a lot of that happened in my early part of doing it. Comcast Sportsnet was much more relaxed. Neil was there. Michael Barkan was there. Al Meltzer was there. I know you had some connections with Al as well. And we did basically post-game shows for the Flyers. And that's all it was. There wasn't pregame. There wasn't intermissions. There was only a post-game. And it was probably 25 minutes long at that time. But it was fun. And I was able to get reps, become better at it, and be myself, which I wasn't when I started. I was acting. I was trying to be somebody that I wasn't. And that was probably the biggest transition part of the biggest turning point in my broadcasting career was figuring out what the advice was, be yourself, and then figuring out exactly what that meant.
It's strange that you say that you were uncomfortable on camera. I'm telling you right now, our newsroom was like a locker room, and this guy was, he was right in the middle of it. I mean, you had fun with everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, Jonesy's walking in the building. We knew you were in the building. And then we have the other analysts, whether it's a basketball person or even a baseball season, when baseball season's still going on. We have all you guys in there.
Yeah.
It was like a locker room.
It was. And I think that makes it better for everybody when it's kind of a team-like atmosphere. The interactions and then, things you're saying off camera, translate to good stories on the air. Like you always want to talk and converse with the people that you work with because you never know what that leads to. And you don't want things that are staged and, kind of awkward, but you want to have ideas and kind of take that into the show that you're doing. A lot of that stuff comes from things you discuss off the air. And that's something I think that helps the show as well.
Here's a little bit of tidbit. How many years did you go with that one blue jacket?
I wore one jacket for 3 years.
Same jacket every game.
And nobody noticed.
Every game he wore the same blue jacket.
Changed my shirt and tie.
Hopefully you dry
Every
cleaned
night.
the jacket a little bit.
Once in a while. Not very often. But nobody noticed.
Except us.
Yeah. Except the guy that was sitting beside me.
Jonesy with his... All right. So that's a little bit of his background. I'm sure you're more familiar now with his role as president of the Flyers, what the Flyers are doing. I'm going to leave that up to you guys to ask your questions about that. Also about his broadcast. But did radio, television. We talked a little bit about his television start. So really, we'll let them Q&A with Jonesy.
Yeah.
So who would like to go first with your first question? Go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, just had a question. So you go from retiring, going into broadcasting, and then you go into an even bigger role in front office. What was that like, transitioning from broadcasting into going into a front office?
The transition
Yeah.
from broadcast to
Harder
front office.
to get into television after I retired from hockey. all the experience of being around hockey for as long, really my whole life, being around the NHL closely, doing national games for as long as I did, having a lot of relationships with people that were already in my position with different teams, and general managers with other teams as well, having a good relationship in the community and knowing, the Flyers, knowing the city from the radio experience I had I was 21 years at WIP, ripping the Eagles as much as I could. I understand that part of the business. I understand that's what drives people to, converse about things. I think that helps in this type of position as well. So it was easier switching to this role than it was when I first retired from hockey. Because that's when I retired from hockey, you're down because it's what you love to do. It's a sport. You're lucky enough to be one of the best in the world at something you grew up playing as a game. That takes a couple of years at least to get that out of your system, where you always feel like I want to go play. And so that transition was more difficult than this one.
All right. Great,
How
Shane.
did your experience at WIP and NBC Sports Philadelphia prepare you for where you are today?
Yeah, it has a lot to do with why I'm in the position that I'm in. I think you deal with so many different variables when you're doing two different roles. TV, it's different. It's less crazy. The radio was fun. It was something you have to be sharp. You had to, I did a show with 4 people. So there's only one mic. So speaking, you have to wait till others are done talking. Otherwise, it's just noise. So figuring out the timing of all that, it takes a lot to just be able to fit into a 4-person show that's funny, but also can be pretty negative. There's all kinds of variables that go into that as well. So I think just kind of taking all those experiences and then reminding yourself when things are difficult and people are upset that you were that person before, that's helpful. And then also recognizing that, you have an important job to do to try to get things right. And you have a lot of people that are watching, that are coming to the games, that are supporting the team, that it means a lot to. So I think having all of that experience is helpful. And hopefully we get it right and everybody's happy, and then you move on to the next season, like the Eagles just did. They won the Super Bowl, and then you're right back at it the next year, and you see what the results are.
Okay. All right.
For
Right.
me, how's your broadcast experience? How did it help you be the president for the Flyers, and did it impact you with marketing? How did marketing to the community and stuff?
Yeah, that part helps for sure. Recognizing what's important to people, and having relationships with people through advertising, through your connections with people in the business community. Those are all, critically important things to what we're doing, because you want those people around your team. You want them to support it. You want them to buy suites. You want them to be in a position where they feel like they're a part of something. And when you have a connection with some of those people and you make more connections, it pays to have an ability to get along with people in any environment and make people feel like they're not just paying for something, but they're being provided with something that makes them happy. So I think that's important.
I look around the room and I see some Flyer sweatshirts, hats. This is not really your team; it's their team. It's like
Yeah,
the community's
it is,
team, right?
yeah.
And you're just you're just holding it for now
Yeah.
and kind of running it for now.
Yeah.
But the Flyers have always had a very strong, loyal fan base. What is that like in your
It's
role
a
now?
responsibility is what it is. Like you want to make sure that you're, serving those people, that you're giving them what they want and doing everything you can to get that team where it needs to be. And it's challenging in today's salary cap environment. There's all kinds of different things that go into that. You can't buy your way out of situations, whether that you created, somebody else created. So you have to come up with a lot of different ways to try to, get things on a level playing field for you, your team, and the rest of the league. And everybody's trying to do the same thing. So it's a lot of thought, it's a lot of work, You're going to need a little bit of luck, but there's a lot that goes into it, and it's not a one-person job. It's you said it, it's their team. Well, it's our team. That's how you want to look at it. And no matter who's working with you to try to help you achieve those goals, you want to recognize them and have them feel that they're really important to trying to get this thing right.
All right, so Jake, I see you got your Flyer shirt on right there. How big of a Flyer fan are you?
I'm starting to get more into it. I haven't been in years past. It was kind of just something I would watch if it was on, but I'm getting a little bit more into it in the more recent years.
Is that something that you just heard, right?
No, that's ideally that's what you want, and that comes with winning and creating an exciting environment. And when you have bumps, you feel terrible about it when your team's not performing to the way that you expect them to, or if they're just not ready to yet.
Mhm.
It's as frustrating, obviously, for us as it is to anybody else. So when they're winning, it feels great. Life is good. And when they're struggling and when we're losing games, you feel terrible about it. So
See, Jonesy, when you were a broadcaster, if you lose the game, you just go home. It's okay,
So
no
true.
problem.
so
You know?
true.
You know?
Game
And now-
over. Close the book.
Oh my gosh!
On to the next game.
And
It's a little
now,
different now.
and now, I mean, do you take? How do you get over losses?
I tell people all the time. I was telling the folks backstage. I said I sleep like a baby, wake up crying every hour. It's a lot. You got to be ready for it. It never leaves you. Like it's in broadcasting, your show ends as long as you didn't say something stupid that's going to get you in trouble. You move on to the next show. That's your only concern. And in broadcast, like anything, whether it's radio or television, you want to do a good show. You're entertaining. You want to keep your job, but at the same time, that game ends. You're on to the next game. When you're in this position, the game ends. Your night's just starting. So that's it.
You chose that, Josie.
Yeah.
You chose that. All right, next
Yeah.
question. All right, right here. Go ahead, Andres.
So through all of, your big transitions from the NHL to broadcasting and then to the operations, what's one skill or any skills that you used that carried over?
Great question. Did you guys hear that?
Skills he took from one to another, right?
Yeah.
That's been significant. in
Yeah,
your
the
success.
number one thing is teamwork. Being a team player, no matter what it was, recognizing where you fit in. I think it's important to know who you are as well and what you're comfortable with. I didn't need to be the star of the show. I just fit into the show. And I think that's why I survived as long as I did in broadcasting. I went through multiple changes of partners and, multiple people that I worked with through every industry. Except in radio, we stayed the same for the 21 years I was there, which is pretty remarkable. But you just kind of, okay, what's this person good at? How can I help them get better in order to make the show better? And it's the same thing that happens now. Okay, I'm not great at this. Okay, who is? Okay, I want to use that person and have them help us get better. So I think it's the best thing that comes out of playing sports. I wish every kid played, just to recognize that. And there's a lot of people you guys played with that were individuals and private contractors, and those qualities aren't great in trying to move forward into something else. So, but take the good things that you learn from being a good teammate.
It's a good answer. It's a good answer. All right, let's go all the way back here. Go ahead, Keegan.
So nationally, hockey still kind of falls outside the top three
Yeah.
popular sports in America.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if there's anything you think the NHL as a league or the broadcasting teams could do better to advertise the game more and make it something more exciting that more people outside of the diehard fans would be more interested in just observing and watching.
Yeah, that's something that we really try hard at trying to generate more interest. It is a niche sport. There's, I always equate it to looking around any neighborhood and anywhere around here, you'll see a basketball net. You often don't see a hockey net. So if you play hockey, or you have a friend that plays hockey, or your neighbor's kid plays hockey, you might gain some interest in it. A lot of times you have to be in the arena to really say, okay, this is how this works. It's a pretty complicated game on television. And that's the biggest challenge. If you're flipping channels, and we all know there's a million things to watch. When Neil and I grew up, we all watched the same shows. He might have been somewhere in the US, I'm way over in Canada. We all watched The Love Boat. We all saw the same shows. Like that's all there was. Now there's so many options. So I do think it's important, though, that you do everything you can to continue to get young people to play the game and to watch the game. Because so many, and I'm sure you guys aren't different in this way, you watch on your phone, you watch the highlights. Those are pretty cool. It doesn't take a lot of time. Then you're on to the next thing. You still have school. You're still studying, hopefully, unlike myself. So it is a challenge in hockey. There's no doubt about it. I don't know that it'll ever. I know it's never going to get to the same as football, basketball, or baseball. They're really good TV sports. You can see the ball all the time in basketball. You can see the players. And watching hockey, you can't see the puck all the time. And if you didn't play, sometimes it's hard to anticipate, where is that? Sometimes you can't see it go in the net. And for an older person, sometimes they can't see the puck. So that's the challenges that hockey has. I recognize it. I'm glad there's, podcasts that cover hockey. We always want more. Some of it's negative. It's okay. They're talking about hockey. So the more that's out there, the more interest that's out there, the better it is for all of us. But it's always going to be a challenge.
All right, right here.
What is the most memorable moment for you with the Flyers, whether it was commentating or playing?
So for me, it was the 5 overtime game in 2000. You guys are probably too young to even know, right? Yeah, I'm getting old. So it was a crazy 5 overtime game that went to 2:22 in the morning. By the time it ended, half the crowd was asleep, half the crowd had left, and we ended up winning that game in Pittsburgh. And that tied the series at 2-2, and then we won the next 2 games after that to move on to the conference finals. So it was a good run for us. It was my last playoff run with the Flyers as a player. I retired early in the next season, but Keith Primo scored the goal, and I can remember it like it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something that really stood out to me.
Tell them what players were doing, food-wise.
Oh yeah.
Tell them what
we're doing like you guys were eating pizza. The locker room, the arena had no more food. Everybody had eaten everything, so we had to order in pizza. Some guys were getting IVs to get the liquids back in them. You were basically scrounging food to continue to play this game that would never end. And it was a 1-1 score. Like, it was not a lot of action. So it was right at my pace, nice and slow.
All right, right here.
My name is Jake Poinsett. I'm a sophomore here, majoring in exercise science. And you talked about living your dream. My dream for a long time has been to work for the Flyers organization.
Yep.
I'm studying to be a physical therapist. So what are some things you think I can do to kind of maybe get some shadowing hours or just any part?
A lot of times it's, looking at the website, it's using whatever connection you can find. A lot of times it's your work. It's you figuring out, how can I just even get my foot in the door? And when you get it in the door, just be prepared to take full advantage of that. And again, there's some luck involved with that. Sometimes you might know somebody but use every asset that you have. And if you have a dream, do whatever you can to achieve that. And you're going to be told no, and you're going to be shut down, and you're going to find roadblocks, and it's up to you to continue to push through. But I would say use every connection that you have, if it's through your parents, through a friend, whatever it is, on the web. Just be noticed in a positive way and try to get your foot in the door. If that's what you want to do, then somebody's doing it. So somebody, maybe they didn't even dream about doing it, but they're doing it. And those jobs exist, and they're important jobs. So if that's something that you're passionate about, be prepared when you get that opportunity, if you do, to hit it out of the park. And when you're there, be a good teammate, because that's what matters. It all matters for the entire team.
You brought up something very interesting. You said opportunity. So can you share how the opportunity came about that you are in the role you're in today? Because you kind of took everybody, off guard.
Yeah.
How did it all come about?
Yeah, it was something that I was not looking to do. I was working for TNT and doing the Flyers games, and it just started with a conversation with our CEO Dan Hilferty, who's an awesome guy, great teammate, great team player, and he piqued my interest in that conversation. So then I started to look into it and try to figure out, is this really what I want to do? Because we were living in Florida, and I was going back and forth to do the TV. So it was not when it was the Flyers, it was important to me. If it was another team, I wouldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it all started. It was just a conversation, and then one thing led to another, and multiple interviews after that. And it was a long process, but once I decided that I would be interested in it, and here we are.
Opportunity, though, right?
Yeah.
There was an opportunity there. He has this conversation. Dan Hilferty was one of the most successful business people here in Philadelphia at that time when he went to work for Comcast Metsagor. So, but he took advantage of an opportunity.
Yeah.
So I would say the same for you. Opportunity, take advantage of it. All right, who's next? Right here.
What has been the biggest valuable life lesson you've learned in both your years in marketing and in broadcasting?
I think one thing that stands out is communicating, talking to people, making them feel like they're heard, not just you talking, but listening. Don't have your next question queued up to the point where you're not hearing the answer to the first one. When you're talking to somebody and then you can tell they're really not hearing my answer, then that's tough. But you want to be that person that they talk to and say, hey, I like that guy. I like that lady. I like that girl. I like that lady. It's like you want to have you want to make a good impression on people when you meet them, and you want to be likable. So it's not an easy thing, and sometimes you might be acting, but you want to make people feel like they want to hang out with you.
You mean all those years you've been acting with me?
Don't tell them, but yes.
All those years, Josie, come on. All right, who's next? Where are we going? All the way in the back. Ooh. Wow.
That's a good question. I guess I don't know if this is a decision, but when I was doing radio, Angelo Cataldi was, one of the greatest radio voices of all time, especially in Philadelphia. He was hard, he was tough. And I was still doing TV for the Flyers as well. So he would come in with thoughts on how he was going to attack the Flyers. And I mean attack them. So some of those decisions I had to make, okay, how far do I let this conversation go? Because on one hand, I'm working for the team. I'm doing their games. I'm not directly working for the team, but I'm working for the team. So I had to give enough, but not too much to the point where I was getting called into the other office. Those were some of the hardest, I would say, balancing acts that you have to compromise a little bit, but you really have to be smart and probably a little bit lucky. Sometimes it just depends who's hearing that conversation, right?
Yeah, but Angelo was pushing your buttons.
Yeah, he would. And that's what he would do.
Yeah. He would try to tweak them to try to get him to say something.
Yeah.
Knowing that if he did say something, it would get back to the guys in the front office.
Yeah, he was challenging. I owe a lot to that guy because he pushed you to the limit. And I'll tell you guys, I did TV. I do a national game in Connecticut. We'd get off the air at 2 a.m. Luckily, I had a driver would bring me back to Philadelphia, and then I would sleep for an hour, and then I would get up and do radio for 5 hours with him, leading the show. And this guy he'd been sleeping since 7 o'clock at night, and he was up at 2:30 preparing this show, and he came out like a rocket. And if one time in 21 years he said to me, "I need more from you," once, and that was early on. He said, "There's no tired in radio. So when you're here, I don't care where you came from. I don't care how late you were up. You better have energy and you better perform." And I somehow was able to do that for 21 years, coming back. But I don't know if I didn't have a leader like him driving me that I would have been able to do that. So sometimes you don't know what your body can do. Sometimes you're tired and you're thinking, I don't know how I'm going to get through this day. I slept 1 hour last night. I got a lot of things on my mind. I'm worried about things. And you will get through that day. Just close your eyes, even if you don't sleep, and find a way to get yourself through that night. And all of a sudden things start to get better the next day. It's tough. It's tough to grow up. It's tough to be in school. It's tough to deal with all the challenges you have, but it's good in the end if you can get through all that stuff. It helps you as the stress starts to arrive in different scenarios.
Really good question. And Angelo was a guest here, by the way.
Oh, was he?
To the pros. Yes,
Oh,
he was.
good. Well, that's a treat.
No one here. I think it was like 3 years ago. I think we had Angelo here. When did
Okay.
he retire? How many years ago?
It's been, I think, 4 now.
4 years. Okay, so
Yeah.
it was right around the time he was retiring.
Yep.
Right
Yep.
before. So,
Yep.
go ahead.
What is your relationship with Jim Jackson?
That's a good relationship. Yeah, we were partners for 15 years. And JJ's a talented. Have you guys had him in yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've had everybody, Jones. Yeah,
He likes
been
to
waiting
talk.
for you to come. you
JJ
know?
loves to talk. I'm sure he had good information to give to you. But I
Okay.
like to bust on JJ. Yeah, he's easy to do that with. But he's done an outstanding job. So yeah, we're good friends, and I appreciate all the work that he puts in to make the show good. Because play-by-play guys work extremely hard. Analysts, your job is to give the information from a player's perspective. And every game's a new game. So the less you come in with, and the more you use your mind on past experiences and what you're seeing, the better that show is. His job is to give information. His job is to give you the stats. And the analyst's job is to tell you what you're seeing, why it's a penalty, why it's a goal, why is that being challenged? Give your opinion. Is it a goal? Is it going to come back? Is it not? All those things are important for the analyst. The play-by-play guy is information, and then there has to be, through all that interaction, where people feel like you like each other. So when they're watching it, they're getting some value, thinking, there's my guys. I enjoy this broadcast. So that's the challenges of broadcasting.
Go ahead, Drosmos.
I was just curious because both you and Danny Briere, you work with, I'm sure, a whole bunch, former players for the Flyers. How big of a factor do you think that is now that you guys look at it from the booth rather than on the ice? How big of a factor is that?
I think it matters in this city. I think this is a city that can be demanding but extremely rewarding to play in. And we both played when the teams we were on were in the playoffs. And we know what it feels like, and we know what it can get to. I do think that is a benefit. I don't think it's everything, but I do think that you can benefit from that. We're also fans of the team. We want the team to be successful, whether we're here or we're not. I think it's important that continues. You want the Flyers to be important, and that's our challenge, and that's our job to be able to help that to happen. So we take it seriously for sure.
Can you give me a sense of what the relationship, as far as the day-to-day, how you and Danny work together to build the team?
So we work together, obviously, every day. If not by phone, we're together. So if Danny travels to scout a junior game, and
he's at Beanpot today.
Yeah, exactly. So if he's whatever he's doing, he's doing. And when he's away, then I do more of the day-to-day stuff. When he's around, I just help him. My job is to make sure he has everything he needs. And if I have a great relationship with a general manager or a president on another team, and we're working on something, I may take that one over. And it's just there's no ego. There's no one trying to say I did that, or this is mine. It's together, and that's what I appreciate so much about Danny. He's very easy to work with. He's very thoughtful. He's a smart guy. He's a competitor. You can see the switch go sometimes, which is awesome. But it's a good dynamic. I think most teams are moving in that direction now. Not all. Some are GM and president themselves. I don't know how they do it. I mean, there's so many things that come up on a daily basis. So I'm happy to have somebody that I can work well with.
Ready?
Thank you. So early in your tenure, you had to deal with the unique circumstances regarding Cutter Gauthier. How did you guys keep it quiet? Because it really, for the fans, it came out of nowhere. And how did you guys work through it to land a great defensive with great potential in Jamie Drysdale?
Yeah, it's challenging, and a lot of things had happened before I got here. So all of a sudden we were handed a young player that didn't want to come to the Flyers, which is their choice. I mean, especially there's a loophole in college hockey where you could stay in school longer and then therefore become a free agent at the end of that. So we were kind of put in a difficult position, but keeping it quiet is about having trust within your circle of people and making sure that it's a small group, and then relationships with the other teams that you're dealing with and having them respect the sensitivity of the issue. So a lot of that was, a lot of those relationships enabled us to do it the way that it ended up happening. So, and then, you move on, to the next one.
Okay, Kate.
So moving on to maybe a happier player, you guys have Matt Vignichkov on your team, and when you drafted him, you had to spend some time with his old team back in I believe it was the KHL.
Yeah.
Yep.
How do you weigh a player like that with the upside being okay, he's gonna be really good, but you have to wait time to get him? What was that kind of situation like trying to get him over here? Because I know he did come over earlier.
Yeah, no, it's challenging. You're not really sure. You're not rushing him. I mean, he came over earlier. He still had things he's got to learn. Like it's all part of the process. He's your guy's age. He's a young man, so you're trying to envision what will he be and how can you help him be this player in 10 years, where he's still a Flyer and doing all the great things for you. So we weren't rushing him to get here. He just was in a position where he could come, and we're very happy to welcome him here. So, and he's still learning. So it's kind of fun to watch. It's challenging. It's going to be interesting to see where he ends up in years down the road, and I believe he's going to have a great career.
Gotcha.
How will your job change in the next couple of weeks with the Winter Olympics coming up?
I get to have a break. So for years I worked the Winter Olympics when I was at NBC. I worked 3 Winter Olympics, and they were awesome. I am missing the fact that I'm not going to go do that this year because, again, we had a great group of people to work with, and the Olympics are just awesome. I was doing hockey, but I still went to every other event because when you're working, they give you a pass and you can just walk in. So I went to the figure skating, the curling. I mean, I saw it all. Speed skating. It was awesome. It was really great. I just wanted to get the feel for everything that was going on there. So I will, like Danny, be going and watching a lot of our young prospects, future players. The hockey never stops. It's going on right now, somewhere, always. Morning, afternoon. They're playing in Europe. They're playing in Russia. They're playing everywhere. So it'll be good for us to have some time to go check out a lot of the amateur players and that too. So, yeah, it'll be busy. It always is.
Are you in favor, you think, for the league? Is it good to have this Olympic break, or is it not good?
I believe it is. If I put my other hat on of trying to grow the game like we talked about earlier, I do think it matters. Mm-hmm. If I'm being the president of the Flyers, I'd rather it didn't because it's a tight schedule. The games are coming fast. We're seeing a lot of injuries around the league. Mm-hmm. So, there is some disadvantages of it, but for the game itself, it's going to be great.
What are the guys who aren't playing? What are they doing?
So they'll take a break. They have probably, I think, 7 days that they have off, and they are able to go and do whatever they want to do. So, yeah. So I have 7 days of worries.
There you go. All right, who's next? Where are we going? Let's go right here.
How would you say your interactions have changed going from player to a broadcaster to to the position you are with now, with the players in general, especially how it's changed with social media and everything? How do you interact and handle those personalities?
Yeah, that's a great question. I haven't changed at all. So I have a great relationship with our players. Talk to them frequently. You know, we have a great practice facility in I guess it's Voorhees. Huge dining table that, you know, our players have breakfast there every day. They have lunch whenever we're there. It's all provided for them. When I played, I stopped at McDonald's on the way to practice and had some hotcakes and sausage. It's a lot different now, for sure. But the table's long, and we all sit together. Danny would be there as well. Our players can come to us about anything. We recognize the challenges that they have. We recommend that they don't go on social media, but someone's always going to send you something. So whether you're on it, off it, it's a challenging thing to be a professional athlete in any sport. You guys know everyone's betting, everyone's angry, everyone's upset that player didn't, get 3 shots on goal. So there's all kinds of stuff being thrown at them. So it's tough. I wouldn't have liked it when I was coming up. When I played, if you played poorly, you didn't read the paper. You played well, you read the paper. Hey, I'm pretty good. So that was it. You didn't have 1,000 different things coming at you where, some angry person is really upset with you because you didn't have your best game that night. So it's hard, and we have to be cognizant of that and make sure that they have someone to talk to if they don't feel great about it. So yeah, it's much more complicated than it was going back 26 years ago when I retired.
We haven't talked about Rick Tocchet at all.
Yep.
So the decision to bring Toc here, he fits the mold of what you and Danny, a Flyer, true and true.
Yeah, it's for us. It's how hard he works. He knows what he's not great at, and he gets people there to help him in that situation. Very good assistant coaches. Mm-hmm. And he interviewed us. Like, he had multiple job opportunities. He was tough. He was tough to interview. He was starting to drive me crazy. So we're really happy that he's there, and you see it on a day-to-day basis. He's out there on the ice with the players. He's involved in drills. He's talking to them. He's communicating. It's an endless job coaching now too. It never stops. So those guys deserve a lot of credit for how hard they work. It's not just in the winter; it's in the summer too. It's a huge commitment. That's why there's 32 of them. None of them probably get paid enough compared to what everybody else makes, but they earn what they get for sure.
Could you ever imagine yourself as a coach?
No. I was asked to coach when I first retired, and thankfully I'd already started my broadcasting career, so I was able to say no.
All right.
It's a horrible life.
All right. Where are we going? Right here.
So now that you're in the front office role, what's it like being in the draft? Like, what's the process?
Yeah, it's really cool. The draft is fun. Last year was the first time in hockey that we did it in a similar way to football, where you're not on site. The players were on site. I think they were in LA, and we did it from the Hard Rock down in Atlantic City. So we had a huge room. We had the ability to put all the names kind of up on a screen, how we had them rated, where nobody else could see them. Because at the draft, when it's live and everybody's sharing, tables on the floor of an arena, you don't have any of your information really up and open because there's deals happening and phone calls being made with potential trades. This way it was much easier. So that it's really cool. There's multiple opinions, and then you have to, zero in on the players that you think project. Hockey's tough. They're young. There's 17-year-olds in the draft. They have not matured yet. You are projecting in many cases. There's exceptions to that rule where You know, there's 1 or 2 kids every draft that are ready, which is incredible at that age to play against some people that are, 40 years old in the same league, but they're that good. Other things are not as clear. I was a 7th round draft choice when I was drafted, playing junior B hockey, which is low level hockey in Canada. Somehow somebody saw something. And then all these things happened to me after that. So you have to look at the later picks with the equal importance to the early picks, because some of them hit. And some guys don't get drafted and they're still making it. With all the resources that every team puts into scouting the world, there's still guys that don't get drafted that still find a way to play in the NHL. So it's pretty cool when they arrive. And you just imagine what those players had to go through just to be noticed and still find a way to get there.
How many of you have heard of Eric Lindros? Okay, large number. You were Lindros's roommate for a period of time, correct?
Yeah.
How long? How many years?
Couple of years.
Couple years?
Yeah. And line mate.
Line
mate.
Yeah. So just Eric Lindros, the player.
Yeah, he was a great player. Could have been one of the best ever. Did not get to that level. Had injuries. Concussions were, I think, the primary issue as Eric's career went on later. But he was massive. He was physical. He was aggressive, and he was extremely talented. So he was the first overall pick. The Flyers ended up, if you ever look at the tree of players that were traded to get Eric, it's incredible. Peter Forsberg was one of those players. Mike Ricci. I mean, there's people that a lot of guys people wouldn't know. But anyway, it was an unreal trade when it happened. But sold out the Spectrum, sold out the new arena. That was the idea, that he would be that piece that would keep people coming to watch, and they were correct in that way because people bought tickets to watch him play. So he was awesome to play with, made it easy.
How did you end up being his roommate?
It's funny that Eric often had the newest guy who came into the team became his roommate. So that's kind of what happened. But I was older than him at that time. We always had roommates back then. It's not like that anymore. The players now, unless you're a rookie, rookies have roommates. Anyone else has their own room now too. So that's another adjustment that's come with the Players Association, fighting for certain things. Now our players don't, they used to wear suits. Now they can wear whatever they want to the game, similar to other sports too. So it's kind of neat to see how things evolve, and what's important to players is interesting to me.
You gonna, do you get all decked out? The way they get all decked out now. Before Do you get all decked out? Come on,
This
Joe.
is about the extent of it.
We've got time for a couple more questions. Who's got one in the back?
As the businessman you are, and the hectic decisions you have to make, how do you know when you've done something correct?
You might not know for a little while. Something you can win the day. You can make a trade that looks really good, and you can get patted on the back, and you can have people commend you for it. And a year or 2 years or 3 years down the road, it might turn out to be the wrong deal, because the other player may develop into an incredible talent. So you can miss things. So you're always cognizant of the fact that every decision you make is really important. And you don't want to be wrong, but you're going to be wrong. Yeah.
Right now, I'll get you right next to you. Go ahead.
After retirement, how important was it for you to make connections?
It was really important. And when I retired, I started immediately into television, even though I wasn't good at it. I did not take a year off and think that I was going to get back into the game, because I was a good player. I wasn't a great player. So I somehow, thinking back to being myself 26 years ago, I recognized that I needed to get involved right away. And then I had connections that I had made through the game, and I just kept, taking everything. I never said no to a job. Never said no. I did radio for a year for free. I went in at 4 a.m. and did that show, and that evolved into a 21-year career at that station, but I did it for nothing. And I think you guys know in communications, you take what you can get, and then that can lead to more. It's not what you're getting right now, it's what you can get down the road. And while you're there getting that first job, you give it everything you have to get the next job by being a good teammate, doing the work that you're asked to do, being on time, treating people properly. All those things will matter if you're going to advance into doing other things in your life.
That's really well put. Very well put.
Thank you.
Last question. Go ahead, Logan.
I would say just ended right there. That was great.
That was pretty good. Yeah, that's a great answer.
Well, what's been your favorite or most memorable move as president of the Flyers so far? Like trade, signing?
I liked our draft last year, getting Porter Martone. I think he's going to be kind of Corey Perry-like. He's still playing Corey Perry. He's 40 years old, but he's that type of player. He's pesky. He's in your face. He's got a great set of hands, and he's big. He's got some size too. So that's one that I'm really looking forward to. Maybe he'll be here sooner than later too. He's in his first year at school, but in hockey they can leave and join your team too. So I don't think he's going to be in school for too long. We'll see.
Let's thank Keith Jones for being here.